What name is guy? Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
20.
Yeah, 20 years. I think Itauma have big future.
We'll do what we've got to do in our own time and our own fashion. I think anybody he hits, anybody in the heavyweight division, if he catches him, he'll do some damage. He'll do some damage. And if he caught Usyk, he'd knock Usyk out.
People are saying you're hyping this guy too much. You seem ready for all of them. Are you ready for all of them? What do you reckon, Gareth? I think you're ready.
That would, garner him, and get him the experience he needs to compete with a Usyk, right? But right now is just not the time. I just think it's just too early.
Usyk had no choice but to admire the shocking knockout Moses delivered to Dillian Whyte. And truly, who could deny such a ruthless ending as Whyte looked finished while Moses stood tall like a future king? And when Moses turned his words toward Usyk, the moment became electric, raising questions of what comes next and whether the reigning champion could even withstand the storm approaching his way.
He's put out that he wants to see you fight Oleksandr Usyk next. Reaction to that?
I want to do it as well, but it's not in my hands, is it?
Would you fight him?
Of course.
Would you fight him? The question hit hard, and Usyk's reply sounded cautious, like a man searching for time. He spoke about Moses, but avoided a clear promise, and that silence revealed everything, because after witnessing the ruthless knockout Whyte, he surely knows Moses is rising quick to respect in his tone, was clear yet, so was a pause, and in boxing a pause is never just a pause, it is doubt.
I'm a little bit tired, I wanna home.
You're going to rest now. There's already a tweet gone out from you saying, maybe I fight Moses Itauma as well. Is that true?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know, because now I wanna think what next.
That was pure confidence from Moses with no hesitation and no second thoughts as he declared straight away to fight Usyk next. And at just 20 years of age, he is already showing the hunger and fearlessness that create legends, while unlike the cautious reply from Usyk, Moses is prepared right now, and that single truth shifts all the weight and pressure back onto the champion.
But Usyk, would you prefer to spend time with him in his training camp for his next fight or fight him next?
Fight him next, then spend time with him.
April, May, it's Dubois, or April, May, it's Usyk. You say immediately yes?
Of course.
Fury spoke without holding back, and every word carried truth as Moses represents the fresh blood, while fighters like Usyk and AJ are beginning to fade. And that brutal knockout of Whyte was living proof that youth, speed, and power will always break down tired legs. And if even Fury himself admits that Usyk cannot keep pace, then the message is already written on the wall.
Boxing's a young man's game and it waits for nobody. So here's the opinion. You've heard it here first. Moses Itauma will wreck all them old men out of the division. Usyk, AJ, Miller, whoever there is who's old, Zhang, fucking whoever else there is, Luis Ortiz, all these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses will wreck him. Because he's a young man versus an old man.
While Fury is building Moses up, Amir Khan takes a cautious stance, calling for patience. But patience is not what fans demand after seeing that ruthless demolition of Dillian Whyte. And though Khan points to Moses being young, that does not erase the fact he already looks levels above many so-called top names. Because why hold him back when he is proving inside the ring that he belongs? And Usyk never crept into the spotlight. He took bold risks, and that is exactly what Moses is prepared for. While Amir sounds protective, his tone also feels dismissive, as if Moses has not earned it yet. But the truth is Moses just dismantled a former world-level fighter in Whyte with ease. And if that is not evidence of readiness, then what else can be? Because sometimes talent explodes so fiercely you cannot contain it. And Moses is not mere hype. He is a storm preparing to tear through the old guard.
Obviously, Turkallah Sheikh was saying Oleksandr Usyk. No, you know what? You don't want to rush him. You want to take it easy. You want to take it slow. Don't rush him. Let him enjoy. He's still 20 years old. Let him get to 22, 23 years old. That's then you start putting him in with the top names in boxing, like the Usyks and like the Wilders or even the Joshuas and the Furies. At the moment, I think you should keep on building him. Let him keep on winning like this. I mean, if he'll keep on knocking him out, getting some good fighters, but not the world title level. I mean, what if he win the world title at 21, what's he going to do then? He can't go backwards, you know what I mean? So So when he said Joseph Parker in there after.
Rawling points to the deepest truth in boxing, that money decides everything, and a showdown between Moses and Usyk would capture massive attention. Yet even while praising Usyk as the best of his era, he slips in the doubter's line, claiming the fight may never happen, but the reality is pundits know Usyk does not truly want that danger. And the excuse that Moses needs rounds is nothing more than a shield to protect the fading champion from a hungry powerhouse, because Moses does not need easy rounds. He needs real tests, and knocking Whyte out cold was proof enough, and fans are not blinded by these delay games. And when the money grows and the demand refuses to fade, Usyk will have no place to hide as generation collides with generation. And youth crashes into age, and boxing itself will force this fight into reality, whether Usyk chooses it or not.
Well, money always talks, doesn't it? And come on, I mean, it's going to be vast, isn't it? And you know, if Turkey wants it, if the big noises over here, the big money men are moving towards that, then they'll be pushing for that. But at the moment, he needs rounds, and who are you going to put him in against to get him round?
Adam Smith admits what many have already begun to notice, that Moses could defeat most heavyweights in the world today. And while that is a staggering verdict on a 20-year-old, he still hides behind protective clause by saying accept Usyk and Du Bois, which feels less like analysis and more like a shield to defend the old guard. But reality is Du Bois was already broken down by Usyk, and many now see Moses as a sharper, more dangerous fighter than Du Bois ever was. So why cling to excuses when the line not ready yet is always used until a young star forces everyone to accept the truth? Because Moses against Whyte proved he is not just prepared, he is already ahead of schedule with speed, power, and composure that frighten even veterans. And if Smith thinks the only gap left is with Usyk, then that gap is closing at a pace faster than anyone dared imagine.
When is he ready? I think he could beat most heavyweights in the world, with the exception possibly of Usyk and maybe Dubois, possibly AJ. The top 3 or 4, he's not ready for them yet. Could he beat them?
Spencer Brown captures the essence with the simple truth that speed kills, and Moses proved it in ruthless fashion against Whyte. And though he admits Dillian looked vulnerable, that does not diminish the fact that Moses dismantled an experienced world-level heavyweight with shocking ease, because every quality fans crave was on display: speed, power, composure, and confidence, showing Moses is far from a one-dimensional brawler, but already a complete fighter at only 20 years of age, which is terrifying for the entire division. And while Brown calls him a nice kid outside the ropes, inside them, he is an executioner. And when natural ability fuses with killer instinct, the result is a superstar rising before our eyes, as Whyte was expected to test his chin, his heart, and his maturity. Yet he crumbled like an overmatched journeyman. And that is the mark of a generational force, because if speed truly kills, then Moses is about to bury an entire era of heavyweights.
What he beat tonight in Dillian, all week he looks a bit weak to me. I don't know if you saw him, but look, you've got to take your hat off to him. He beat a seasoned top 10 fighter, or he was a top 10 fighter, and he's such a nice kid. He's got every attribute you could want, and he hurts and knocks people out. Speed kills.
Joseph Parker gives Moses the credit he deserves and calls out what everyone can already see, that at just 20 years of age, Moses carries the qualities of a complete fighter with speed, power, movement, and ring intelligence. And hearing such praise from an established heavyweight is rare, because most fighters at that age are still learning their craft against journeymen, while Moses is dismantling former world contenders like Whyte with alarming ease. And what makes Parker's words heavier is his understanding of how brutal the heavyweight division is, yet he openly admits Moses checks every single box. And when he calls it special talent, that line carries the deepest truth, because such gifts cannot be bought or faked. They either exist or they do not, and Moses clearly has them, and fans can feel it, fighters can see it, and even champions cannot look away. And if a respected veteran like Parker is as convinced, then it is only a matter of time before Moses breaks into the very top of the division.
I think he's a great talent. I think it's at 20 years old, he's put on this massive stage, fighting someone like Whyte who has the experience. But if you look at it, Moses ticks all the boxes in terms of speed, movement, ring IQ, probably packs power, you know. He's been knocking out everyone put in front of him. So he's a very special talent, and that's why everyone's excited about him. as a fighter. And
Dan Raphael focuses on the business angle by pointing to Usyk's popularity and Parker's name value. Yet the hidden message is obvious, because if Usyk versus Parker is being suggested, it is only because the idea of Usyk against Moses is far bigger with Wembley filled, and fans electrified, since Moses already generates that level of hype despite only starting his career. And while Raphael admits Parker and Usyk could sell tickets deep down, everyone knows the true money fight is a young lion against the established champion, and his remark that Moses should get the chance speaks louder than any dismissal, because it accepts the clash as inevitable since the hype is too strong, the talent too undeniable, and the demand too loud. And though Usyk may carry the belts, it is Moses carrying the excitement. And if boxing truly revolves around what sells, then Moses will become impossible to avoid very soon, because Wembley with Parker is one thing, but Wembley with Moses is a spectacle waiting to happen.
He should get the opportunity. He's also, by the way, you take that fight between Usyk and Parker, because of the popularity that Usyk has generated in the United Kingdom, and the fact that Parker is a very well-known fighter in the UK as well. You could put that there, and I don't know if you're going to sell out Wembley Stadium on a fight like that, but you can sell out any arena, in the country.
Dan Raphael shifts the focus of the business narrative, highlighting Usyk's popularity and Parker's name value. Yet the unspoken truth stands clear that if Usyk versus Parker is being promoted, it is only because Usyk versus Moses would be even bigger, with Wembley bursting at capacity and fans roaring, as Moses already generates that kind of energy despite only beginning his journey. And while Raphael admits Parker and Usyk could sell tickets deep down, everyone knows the real money fight is the young lion against the reigning champion, and his point that Moses deserved the opportunity is not dismissal, but quiet acceptance of the inevitable, because the hype is overwhelming, the talent undeniable, and the demand relentless. And though Usyk may hold the belts, it is Moses who holds the excitement. And if boxing truly revolves around what sells, then Moses cannot be avoided for long, since Wembley with Parker is a show, but Wembley with Moses is a spectacle waiting to explode. Moses Itaama's destruction of Dillian Whyte was more than a victory. It was a chilling warning sent straight to Usyk and the entire heavyweight division, because at only 20 years of age, he is already making champions doubt themselves. And if he topples Usyk, a new era will ignite. But if Usyk survives, then his legacy hardens even further. So the real question is simple. Are you standing with the young lion Moses or the